Today, we're diving straight into the fascinating science behind how your internal thoughts are actually out there building your external reality. I mean, your thoughts do way more than just float through your mind. They literally dictate what you notice, how you size up risks, and exactly what you do next.
But before we get into the heavy science, I really want you to ask yourself something. Do you control your thoughts, or are they controlling you? Because, as we're going to see, these unseen thoughts are quietly making life choices for you way before you're even consciously aware of them.
Okay, here's our roadmap for today. We're looking at 1. The power of inner stories. 2. The psychology behind your choices. 3. How the brain wires itself. 4. Intentional shifts. And 5. Your daily mindset routine. Let's get into it.
Section 1. The power of inner stories.
So, to really understand our stories, we've got to define mindset. Put simply, it's the whole package of beliefs, attitudes, and mental habits that shape how you interpret your life. Think of it as a mental filter. It dictates whether you're going to charge towards your goals with excitement or kind of shrink back from them in fear.
Now, psychologist Carol Dweck really hit the nail on the head here. She found this massive contrast between fixed and growth mindsets. A fixed mindset tells you your abilities are pretty much set in stone, but a growth mindset, that assumes you can improve if you put in the effort. The situation you face might be exactly the same, but if you interpret a failure as just feedback rather than prove that you're incapable, it completely changes your outcome. It's a total game changer.
And that brings us to how our brain actually filters the world. Look, your brain can't process every single thing around you, so it leans on cognitive bias. Basically, if you're always expecting disappointment, your brain is going to quickly spot proof of it. It will literally blind you to the amazing opportunities that are sitting right there in front of you.
At the end of the day, your identity-based thoughts usually become your habits. If you have a thought like, "I never finish anything," well, that shuts down your action before you even start. It dictates those repeated daily actions that ultimately just become the reality of your life.
All right, Section 2. The psychology behind your choices.
Right at the core of this psychology is something called cognitive appraisal. It's the idea that how we interpret an event totally dictates our emotional response to it. Picture two people facing the exact same massive last-minute project at work. Cognitive appraisal is the difference between one person seeing it as an overwhelming disaster and the other person seeing it as this really exciting chance to prove what they can do. And this is exactly why self-efficacy is absolutely crucial. Psychologist Albert Bandura introduced this concept, and it's basically just the belief that you can take action and actually influence how things turn out. When people truly believe they can adapt to a situation, they dig in deeper and they bounce back from setbacks so much faster. Now here is maybe the most counterintuitive takeaway from all the psychology research we're looking at today. Ready? Action comes before confidence, not after. You don't sit around waiting to feel confident so you can act. No, you take action to actually build that confidence. But then on the flip side of that, we have learned helplessness. This is a tough spot, where repeated setbacks make people feel like their actions just don't matter anymore. They throw their hands up and say, why bother? But here's the absolute best news from the research. Learned helplessness isn't permanent. You can absolutely reverse it with some intentional mindset work. Which brings us to Section 3, how the brain wires itself. Let's look at the hardware.
The magic word here is neuroplasticity. Your brain literally changes through use. Think of it like a really well-worn hiking trail in your mind. The more you walk the path of a specific thought, whether that's positive planning or just beating yourself up with criticism, the deeper, wider, and easier that exact trail becomes to travel. But there's a catch. Complicating our little hiking trail is the brain's negativity bias. See, our brains are hardwired to look out for threats just to keep us alive, which means negative thoughts naturally feel a lot more urgent and believable. That is exactly why we have to intentionally cultivate a calm mindset. It's really the only way to keep our decision-making flexible when we're dealing with modern stress.
Okay, Section 4. Intentional shifts for better outcomes.
Because self-awareness gives us this crucial little pause between an impulse and an action, we can actually use that space to swap out our mental filters. First up, shifting from fear to curiosity. Instead of letting fear completely shut down your growth by asking, "Oh no, what if I fail?" Try shifting your inner voice to ask, "Hey, what might I learn here?" That instantly opens up so much space for adaptability.
Next, we've got to shift from perfectionism to progress. You know, we love to disguise perfectionism as just having high standards, right? But usually it just leads to putting things off and a ton of self-judgment. Embracing a progress mindset, Truly believing that done well enough today is way better than perfect someday, that is what actually gets you moving forward.
Another massive shift is moving from a fixed identity to a changeable identity. Labels like, "I'm just bad with money," feel true, simply because we're so used to saying them. But if you tweak your self-talk to say, "I'm learning to manage money better," you instantly turn this permanent brick wall into a temporary problem you can actually solve. Finally, Section 5, your daily mindset routine.
Look, success isn't just one huge choice you make once. It's built on a foundation of daily habits. If you want to actively rewire your brain, you've got to protect your attention. That means limiting mental clutter and cutting back on negative media. Focus on your daily process instead of stressing out over the final outcome. And this is huge. Surround yourself with growth-oriented people who will actually challenge your distorted thoughts instead of just nodding along and reinforcing them.
So, let's make this super concrete. Here's a quick 5-minute daily practice you can start literally today. 1. Name the dominant thought that's shaping your mood. 2. Test it, like is it actually 100% true and complete? 3. Reframe it into a balanced thought that actually supports taking action. 4. Set an intention for how you want to act today. And 5. Just take one small step that matches that new mindset. Simple steps, done every day, become incredibly powerful.
The big takeaway here, mindset is not fixed. You change the thought, you change the outcome. Both neuroscience and psychology prove, without a single shadow of a doubt, that you are not stuck with the brain you have right now. Through intentional practice, you can completely transform how you respond to life's challenges.
So we've covered the power of your inner stories, the psychology driving your choices, and the literal rewiring of your own brain. I want to leave you with this final thought to really kickstart your neuroplasticity today. What is the single limiting thought you are going to rewrite right now? Thanks so much for exploring the science of self with me on this explainer. Keep challenging those thoughts, and I'll catch you next time.